being sent to a third party. Are we still doing that? Shocking. Hello, everyone. Gosh, it tuned in before. That's lovely. Hello. Long time, 3 weeks no see. Hope you're all well. This is Concordia Quantularis. My name is Angela. This is Harrison. And we are the Spiritual Business Agency of Peace. So there's lots of things happening out there that could be very confusing in this time for people, emotionally, spiritually, and from a living perspective. So one of the things that we are going to look at today is what is stopping your evolution. So at this point, I would like to say if you need to hit a notification or if you need to resubscribe, you might never see us on this channel. It is a strong possibility. So yeah, do resubscribe. Do subscribe if you're new. Stay in contact with us that support your liberation on planet Earth today in this current time. So what is stopping your evolution? Have you ever thought about that? What are the things that seem to really hinder your ability to move forward in space and time? Harrison, how are you doing, firstly?
Hello, Angela. Personally, I'm doing okay.
Good.
Things are cool where I am. Other than the heat wave that's going across our country and continent, nothing else is happening other than the political heat and the heat coming from the sun. So personally, I'm doing okay. Yeah.
Lots of sun, lots of intense emotional baggage coming up for people in this time space reality. And, you know, this is strong stuff of these times, which requires us to be stronger. And we require more resolve in our lives because what I'm hearing, I might not know, is that there are huge financial issues out there on people right now. And how does that affect your own personal evolution and flow with grace? So, this today, Spiritual Thought of Equity, let's have a look. What is stopping or hindering your personal evolution on Earth? And that could be a number of things. It could be the system that is working with you or not working with you or defunct. And it could be your job, it could be your relationships, it could be any number of things that affect your life today. It could be your lineage, it could be people in the street, it could be the dense and heavy propaganda, not knowing what to believe. But all you need to believe is in you, believing in, literally in your own super capabilities. So what we're going to do today is open an evolution stopping spiritual court of equity, and we're going to bring and invite kindly all those on the planet today. And you could have been affected by time, you could have been feel like you have no time to do these things to improve yourself. You feel that time is being stolen. You may have sporadic memories about certain things in your life, people, times, places, and spaces. It could be your place of work that is robbing you of your spiritual time. It could be religion programming that affects your spiritual time and how you feel about yourself. We are facing the grandest illusion on earth today. And with that spiritual cult of equity, we're going to invite all those beings, faces, individuals who affect people's experiences and journeys. Just a bog standard sweep here today. So I'm just bringing everybody, it's a bit of a mishmash.
Yep.
And Harrison, if you could kindly describe what you're seeing.
I don't know, it looks quite different than the other kind of courts we have been having previously.
Mm-hmm.
So what's happening? It's strange because I'm lacking words to express what I'm feeling at the moment, because
Mm-hmm.
it's things that are dealing with past, present, and future,
Yes.
and all the choice points the person is making. On top of that, a system that's trying to overtly or covertly manipulate the choice point of each and every single person. And the energy that we are experiencing now, given the position our planet is and the heat waves that we are experiencing. So what I'm getting, I'm seeing it's like red or like fire that is, I'm seeing people in form of it. I don't know what I would put them, but it's like they are red in color as a result of fire.
Mm-hmm.
Like their faces, it's glowing red, and things are being done to them that's manipulating the choice points. And the funny part is, it's people agreeing or coming to a point of knowingness that whatever they are doing, it has been perceived. It's not, they did not create it out of free will. It was created out of manipulation. And they are taking these choice points as free will choice points. But in reality, it has been manipulated. It has been created for them, and it has been drawn at the optimal time where they perceive it as free will for them. And they cruise in life without ever knowing that somebody else is planning their lives. And even if it's for a couple of seconds or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and then from that aspect, affecting their spiritual growth, their spiritual choices, and their spiritual decisions, making sure that at no point they are in full power to realize who they are. This is what we have been experiencing, and this is why I'm perceiving the court it's quite different than the ones that we have had before, because I'm seeing people, they're quite powerful. It's like I would say, I don't know if I would call them avatars or people the size of Earth coming into the court. I don't know if it's their full selves,
Projection.
yeah,
Probably about that
present
big.
here. So some of them believe, the way a bully is, one of the characteristic of the bully is that they tend to be bigger than the people they are bullying. So they project their lack of love and whatever traumatic experiences they have gone through their lives, they project it onto others. And this is what we're experiencing here. This is what is being portrayed here, where a couple of people, they are few, but they project themselves to be many. And then they go bullying each and every single person.
Right. It's a bit like the military tax collection service in Kenya, isn't it?
Yep. And
Exactly.
the funny thing is that it's like a replica. This was happening during the colonial times. So what had happened before colonization had happened is that they sent anthropologists and these people who study the culture to know what the African man or woman or child or girl, boy, how they were living. And one of the reports that was taken back to Britain, there's a Gazette piece. I don't know if you can Google it, you can. I'll send you that picture. You know, this guy said they have gone across Africa. I've not found a poor person. I've not found a prostitute. I've not found thieves. I've not
You probably
found.
haven't found AIDS either.
Yeah, I've not found. This was around 1896 or something, around that period.
Oh,
And he
1896.
said, yeah, and this person said he was, I don't know, he was called somebody, and he said, if you are to conquer Africa, we have to first of all separate them from their God, because they are very spiritual people. And number two, to make sure that we separate them from language, to give them a foreign language and make them believe their language, they are if they speak their natural language, it's that they are illiterate, they're not educated, and to tramp on them. So so from there, that was the basis. When they came into our country, you know, you have a man, maybe he has 20 wives, he has maybe 100 children, he has 3,000 acres, he has, you know, he's a rich guy. Everybody in the family is well taken care of, because from our community, women have, from the beginning of time, our women had freedoms. They could choose to do whatever they wanted in their lives.
Matriarchal society.
Yeah, it was a matriarchal society, and they would make choices and decisions, and sometimes they were chiefs or leaders. And so you can imagine a woman like this or a man like this who owns land, or you know, has the cattle, has all this type of thing, being told you have to go and pick cotton in a white man's land. There's no way this person is gonna agree or accept.
No.
So one of the tactics they used is that they brought something they called house tax. So you're gonna be taxed by the number of houses you have built in your homestead.
They're doing that in the UK, actually.
Yeah. So now you can imagine if you're a man and you have 20 wives and 100 children, you can imagine how many houses or how many huts you have in that homestead. And this led into a very huge kind of backlash with the community. And now, years later, it's the same tactic that is being employed by the government, you know, having this paramilitaristic kind of group, you know, going from town to town in the name of collecting data, but it's not to help the people, but it's to tax them to death, you know.
That is literally it. Tax you to death. We're seeing that all over the world today. Same tactics, erasure of language, superimposition of European languages, Latin languages. It's especially noticeable down here in this side of the sea. So, look, you know, I want to take a look at this methodology. Who implemented that? Whose choice was that? Spiritual choice to implement that methodology. Yes, we have the spiritual control factor here from the Vatican. Yes, we have the financial supporting arm in London. And yes, we have the military industrial complex in Washington, D.C. So, when did this really begin to feed through? We're just going to check. I'm just having the timelines checked at this moment because there is a lot of bleeding and overspilling going on. But also, I want to check out these weirdos in the spiritual perspective. I'm just saying weirdos, I'm being very flippant with my language. Sam has joined us and she's saying that these are appearing and feels like layers of blocks, which would represent the structure of the new system, one world governance system that they're trying to implement financially, digitally. And I wonder what's in those little boxes, Sam. You know, it's really quite interesting. So let's have a look at these chaps who claim that they're big beings. They feel very bubbly, actually, which is quite interesting. So let's just see who they really are. And Harrison, you observe and tell the story.
No. What I'm getting is that this ideology came way a long time ago. It has its offshoot from Atlantis, and then through different cultures,
yeah,
it came through. Because if you go back, what I'm being shown is that a long time ago, it's like, and it's not from our perspective to be a long time ago, but from them it's like yesterday. It's like around, I'm being brought back to around 2000 years ago.
Right. Harrison, you're telling a good tale here.
Yeah, so around now this period, so many cultures, even if you borrowed money from them, they never charged you interest or usually. But we know of one tribe that kept, you know, that kind of system rolling over. And this gave the system an opportunity to experiment, to see the uptake of the people. And then since they had built the institutions, they knew if people are born into this system, there's no way they are going to reject it. The problem comes with the introduction of the system. That's where a lot of the crash comes. But once the system is introduced, the people who come after the system has been introduced, they just blend in and they agree this is how things work.
This is just the way things are.
Yeah, so what has happened, I'm being shown, is that those people who have resisted previously, they have been crushed, smashed, and all sorts of things that you can think of. And since coming forward into our current time, the same methodologies, you know, if you don't agree with the person, they just, you know, a long time ago, they would just come into your house and burn your house and kill you and take up your property and do all those things. Since they cannot come and kill you directly because there are so many people.
Yeah, they can't just walk into your house.
Yeah, questions will be asked. Yeah. So this is now they developed another monster called the law, and they knew the law was subjective. It, you know, you could be reading the same script, but can be interpreted into so many ways. And this is where now they use the language called legalese. You know, you are reading the same script, but it will be flipped. You thinking that this is how the law is going, or this is what is being decided, you find it's the opposite. And this is what, these are some of the things they have used: finances, the law, and the prison system. And if you look at the current structure right now, they are in the process of introducing something else. A lot of people are against this system. But if you look closely, they are using the law, finances, and the threat of destroying your name and your livelihood and throwing you to prison. And now once they're able to crush that, they know the next generation that comes after that will just blend in and accept
Exactly.
what has been introduced.
Yeah, generation after generation. So, Harrison, as you were saying that, it reminded you of me of a subject on the list. So let's just pull in all light, true spiritual light corruption in all races, all cultures, all elders in the stars. And let's just have a look at this origin of this seeding of the corruption of the true light through trauma-based mind control or whatever means that they do or have done religiously, financially, spiritually, in the family, the breakdown of the family unit, the denigration of female, the denigration of male. Was it anything to do with this kind of these planetary type beings?
So what I'm getting is that these beings know how to play the system, and they know they are the kind of people who want things to be what I'm gonna say for people to understand. I'm gonna take them back into 2020 when they were being told, if you don't do this, if you don't get, your Kool-Aid, there's no job for you. There's no going shopping for you. And if you took it, the way was open for you. And then 2 years down the line, now you're having this organization coming out and saying, we never forced you to do that, because they already know the backlash that is gonna happen.
Sounds very familiar.
Yeah, especially the WHO. They came recently
and
telling everybody, we never forced you, we never told you this or that. But if you go back during that time, so many people lost their jobs. So many people were thrown in prison or they were fined. And now this is how these beings operate. They will come, put pressure for things to be done. And if questions are asked, they say they never forced anybody to do it.
Exactly.
It was your free will. You chose
was
it.
your free will. You used it, you chose it. We didn't say anything. We didn't encourage you, force you, coerce you. Coercive abuse. It is an abuse-related matter, planetary-wide. So, who are those directly responsible? Let's have a look. Some of it in part is machine here. So that's going to be dealt with in a very specific.
Yeah.
But what I am interested in is those that corrupted the lights from Lemuria.
I'm being told every single aspect that you'd think of Lemuria and Atlantis is happening right now in front of our eyes.
Exactly.
Those people who corrupted the light back at Lemuria, I'm being given, I'm being told to be cautious in terms of naming, but I would say it's one of the prime minister in one of the American countries. So you you can feel your gaps
They're
in
all
there.
at it. They're all in
Yeah.
there.
So this guy is very eloquent and he's expressing a point. Um he explains the point to the core. But
Go
in
on,
reality, what
justify
he is,
it. Justify that big fat limitation of yours. Go on, do it, do it, do
yeah.
it.
So, but in reality, what they are telling the people, it's opposite of what needs to be implemented because it's gonna crush people's free will
Inversion tactics again.
of choice. But since there are people who can express themselves excellently, speak very eloquently,
That's
they are
good.
very good in debates.
Oh, very good.
Each and every single aspect that you'd seek in a person who is communicating, you'd find in them. And because of this, they use this tactic to manipulate the brain frequencies of the people. And
Via the lineages on Earth.
yeah, and because of those frequencies, now people are bought into ideas.
A system of ideas.
Yeah.
Very clever.
Yeah, and
Very clever
once
chaps, aren't they? Very good. Very good.
yeah,
Well done. You did it.
yeah,
Now
yeah. So
cancel it.
once so once you are bought into these ideas, the only thing they need from you is just one action. Just saying the
Ooh,
word yes.
exactly.
And they will pick it from there.
Right. So, like corruptors do the Bruce Lee maneuver.
Yeah. So so I'm being told to tell the people to be very aware of people who are very talkative and express themselves and they speak a lot,
Yes.
eloquently, perfectly. Take your time, slow down, slow their messages.
And feel it underneath
Yeah,
the message. How does it
yeah.
make you feel? Your soul, how does your soul feel? So, when you look at the souls on earth in this spiritual court and these star elders, what is their response to this? Because they're using cycles of time to roll this out.
I'm seeing a huge chunk of the souls. It's like they're in limbo. It's like they're not even aware this is happening. They're just cruising along whatever the wave that's coming, wherever it will take them. There's also another aspect of souls who know what's really happening. I'm being told to share this story. I don't know how many people have watched the Game of Thrones. In the Game of Thrones, there are different characters. So there's one character called Jon Snow. Jon Snow knew nothing of what was happening, but did everything to make sure that the people got the best of decisions and choices. There was his brother called Bran, or his cousin. He knew everything but did nothing, but ended
That
up
is
inheriting
key.
but ended up inheriting the throne. And the other characters who were in between, they knew a little bit. Some chose to act, but majority of the people who knew something chose to act in their own interest for their own personal growth and success. But those people who made the difference, a majority of the time knew nothing of what was happening, or they knew very little of the story of what was happening. So, and this is what is I'm being shown here, and it's like the soul who the souls or the people who know much of the story, they choose to step aside, and those who choose to go full force, they don't even remember what happened back then.
Yeah.
They just know it's wrong and they need to do something. And those who know each and every single thing about this story, they're just stepping aside, allowing, the commotions to happen, just to wait to inherit, the throne. Once everybody is tired, and they'll offer to lead, because now they have they do know what the history of everything that has happened all along, and it's just a choice for the people, not allowing a group or a couple of people to go and lead them and become the authority to decide for them what's good or not good for their lives.
Exactly, because they're just making the wrong choices based on programs and those seedings of those structures within their own light framework. So, and this can be incredibly disheartening for people that know, but maybe feel powerless in these scenes. How do I live? How do I do this? I must do that, I must acquiesce to the system because they know nothing else. And that is incredibly sad for every soul on this planet, presented with that challenge of moving forward in their own development. And they seek to and look in the external, and they end up being disappointed, taking it on board, and it destroys their life ultimately, because that level of negative emotion impacts the soul growth on earth today, because they can't, because all they feel is trauma, and that manifests through living situations, relationships, families, the workplace, the pressures the daily pressure that they are under from the moment they wake up to the moment they fall to sleep. And then they lose hope because of this dense fear and loss of spirit. So I'm asking nicely, in the nicest possible way, with my big old soul in non-physical reality, and saying no more, that we would like this light corruption removed and all its imprints on humanity today in this time-space reality. And what is the response you observe, Harrison? Because I feel the resistance. Ooh.
Some of them have played this so long that they believe they are gods.
Yeah, George Soros included in that.
And it's funny how they are able to transfer this in their own lineage.
Mm-hmm.
It's like once their body withers, someone else comes along in their lineage where they're able to transfer this power to them so that they can continue with the agenda.
Now, their lineages are dying out. And I try to be compassionate. I try to be compassionate about what is happening with these lineages, because you're right, they really do not know what is happening. They do not know how to break free of such control physically, spiritually, emotionally. They can't move. They just carry on like robots and automatons. I feel compassion for that level of entrapment. But also, if you are entrapped, you're going to entrap others. So I'm requesting in this spiritual course of equity that all is removed. And you see, like we've got King Charles getting the population of the UK to feel sorry for him because he has cancer. Why does he have cancer?
Yeah, and also the leader of the Rothschild moved on.
Yeah, he's just being recycled to try and come in again. You know, maybe he's going to manifest himself in the next reality that he has, because he has not escaped any type of entrapment.
Maybe I was thinking he was gonna let things to cool off, and then come in once things are cooled off, because also what's happening is that a lot of these billionaires have built in these huge bunkers, and it's like they are furnishing them. It's like they know something is coming and they're not telling everyone. So I don't know, it's like on one side there's this force that's pushing out these beings that are huge, like the size of a planet. They are being pushed out, like the effect. Yeah, it's like the way they portray themselves is how I'm perceiving it.
Very macho.
Yeah, and their influence, and much of it is the way they are able to get a stronghold on each and every single person is through the financial. That one has played a key major role in the way this system works.
Now, Harrison, I just want us to take a little viewpoint here of everybody that's in the chat room, and including ourselves here. I would like to bring and just highlight in this spiritual course of equity who is attempting to block our evolution. And these beings carry a deep sense of shame. Funny that.
Yeah.
Tell me what you see.
What I'm getting, it's like being taken in a timeline or like a room, and it's like they have this fancy name, like Council of the Round Table, or something of that sort. And there are these beings seated like in forming a circle. And in this council, they know change is happening. And this is why they want to implement their own change, because they know change is inevitable. So since they know change is happening, the only way to do is hijack the change and implement the change they want. And how do you make sure the planet moves into the situation where the change they want is accepted? is finding those who would divert or dilute or people who are threats to your changes.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, they do have this predictive programming, the AIs, the project looking glasses. They have all these
Yeah,
technologies
yeah,
with
yeah.
them that
Mm-hmm.
they can project and know what's
Mm-hmm.
happening. But the core thing is they have previous data of people who they knew
Renegades.
was who the people who are affecting their system, and it has resorted for them going back and looking for these people who have becoming a thorn on the agenda they're trying to implement. And the main agenda is destroy.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't kill them, because right now you can't just walk into somebody's home and pull up your sword and hack them to death. You know, questions are gonna be asked. The next phase is destroy them. So how are you gonna destroy them?
You
So
destroy
making
them financially.
yeah, so that's one of the ways, destroy them financially. And once they are in that kind of a turmoil, you can now put alchemy or whatever kind of thing to conspicuously delay things, manipulate things, change
Mm-hmm.
one thing from here.
Mm-hmm.
And since they may not know where all these people are, the best way they do it is through, different governments, load that's one of the example. Like for example, the idea that's coming to me, it's like Argentina.
Mm-hmm.
Since the new president came in, the first thing is he devalued the currency by 50%. And you know very well, if our currency is devalued by 50%, prices of things are skyrocket, the immediate rate skyrocket like 2 or 3 times the original price. And this
Mm-hmm.
is not the way the income of the people is gonna change. So technically you have already put up a huge padlock on people who are trying to meet their ends meet. So, and this is what they are trying to implement in each and every single country, diverting, challenging, making you to wish that you surrender and walk on your knees, like um what I'm getting, it's like the way prisoners of war are treated. It's like they have developed these kind of techniques
Yeah. Yeah.
and hammering people right, left, and center, and making sure that at no single point in time you're gonna sit up, look deep inside yourself, and know that there's abundance there. And even if you know that there's abundance, how will you pull out that abundance when bills are waiting for you around the corner, you know,
Exactly.
and making sure that you're not able to own anything. If you want to buy a home, it's like a pipe in the dream. It's
Harrison, what
unachievable
is,
for.
tell me, what
Yeah.
is the name of this council?
Sorry?
What is the name of this council?
I don't know, I'm getting it's like a frequency form and strange numbers and letters and,
Aha, it's
you
frequency
know,
coding. So I'm just
yeah,
going to
this,
dance around it. Why am I laughing? It's boring. I find it funny. So I'm just going to show them what's going to happen right now to their council. So they're not really, they're kind of human, but they're not. How are they doing, this little council of decision makers over other people's journeys?
Yeah. And then there are subsidiaries of councils below that council,
It's called a
you know.
hierarchy.
Yeah, and one of them is a popular one that we know, where all these world leaders go to meet, you know, captains of industries, presidents.
Well, sounds like the WEF, doesn't it?
Yep, that's the one.
Yeah.
And WEF answers to another council that's above it.
Okay. Oil hierarchical councils. So, this council and all the other global type globalists, because they're these beings that pump themselves up, and those that would affect you and I personally if they could.
It's
I
like
could hear.
it's like having, they do know
Yep.
the troublemakers, and it's like
Yeah.
they have this kind of lead sleep. As long as they smell your energy moving around somewhere.
Yeah. It is like that. What was that film, that movie where that happened, where it had no eyes but it could smell you? What was that? Years ago. I can't remember. But there was a film like that. Maybe it was one of the Star Wars films. I don't know, earlier. Anyway, so it's not even me doing it. I'm just going to collapse it all, pull the plug. And what's our star system we're talking about here? I just, this can be done. It's just being defragged like an old computer. Because what they do is they create this narrow stream affecting your movement in reality.
Yeah, and also what I'm being told is that they put choice points. They know there's a major thing coming in your way. And before you get that thing, they put something else to divert you from your big win that the universe is rewarding you with. And they try their best to match you with whatever something they think is gonna be good for you, that will make sure it will divert you from doing something greater than.
Yes. Yes, exactly that. So they'd be given their marching orders. Right, there's a big clearing coming down from the very early dawn of all creation, all realms. And all ancestors that I'm connected to, which is all of them on Earth.
Yeah. I'm being told what's happening. It's like the way Google has created its AI, and they thought this AI is gonna crash, the Chat GPTs and other AIs that are out there, and they hyped it and they said it's being released and it's coming. And the moment it got into the market, people are seeing it. This AI is being coded by a very leftist person because of the output it's spewing out if you ask it questions. Like for example, one of the questions it was asked if it could uh, print out a picture of Vikings, and you're bringing Chinese people, African people in that mix, And we all know historically where Vikings originated from. And there's no resemblance of these people in those regions, And also the way it's answering questions, it's quite questionable. And instead of gaining glory, they have gotten a very huge backlash. And I think they might have some of the aspects of the AI have been paused because of the huge bad publicity it's gaining.
So, what is happening now to this apparent superstructure? And those light corruptors?
What I'm being shown is that the projection that's being projected out there is that they have unity, they're this huge, they are crushing everything. But if you pause and look clearly, you'll find huge holes, in this structure that aren't even hidden. It's like, oh, I'm a very strong person. And the next thing, when you look at this strong person, he has broken limbs. They're using clutches. They can't even fight. And they are bragging of the way they are gonna beat you or club you to death. And this is what is being projected and presented. So, um, so what happens, or what I'm being told, is that they are masters of deception. And
Aha.
one thing
Favorite
they have,
type.
yeah, and one thing they have mastered is the way to use the tongue. And because of the voices and the way they structure their voices and the way they speak
The
eloquently,
rhythm,
fluently,
tone,
perfectly, it's
combination of
like,
letters.
yeah, it's like when people are going to school learning mathematics and all this stuff, all they did was going to the school of language and how to speak and pronounce and do
And
this.
use their word in this time space reality.
Yeah. So
all
what
the
I'm being
broken
told
meanings.
is,
Yeah.
so what I'm being told is that the moment you come across a person who is very eloquent, can speak fluently, the next course of action that you need to do is take a pause, look in between the lines what this person is saying, or what is the agenda they are trying to sell you.
So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use the power of my word. And that's all I can do. And that's all we can do as humans in this experience that we're having shared and singularly. And these are not the words of Angela on earth per se. These are the words of Angela in non-physical reality. Hello. May these words find all structures of control, just going to put it simply, but it's effective because we don't need to use complicated sentences from the heart and soul of all existence, all soul groups. We reckon a change on the impact of every single human being, every single human lineage that lives and coexists on earth today. May the frequency and tone of my multiversal voice strike the chords of your ethics, your goals, your violations in all spiritual realms, physical and non-physical frequencies of light. You are speaking with uncorrupted light beyond what you know. I dissolve you. We remove you. You are a fragment of the reality that you have created. And when it's taken away in this moment, as I breathe, a living, sentient breath, utilizing my own personal free will to deconstruct all of your outputs from every timeline, from every incoming aspect, thread of your negative existence that would affect the free will on earth today. I remove you, dissolve you, and love you back into harmony. Because I am that which you fear and you cannot tolerate. And this is why they seek to serve their own agendas that automatically start burning in the great fires of all creation, with the sun, the moon, and the stars, with the purest ethics from the spiritual science. And I combine my forces with all monadic capabilities in this spiritual court of equity. You will not affect my journey. And you'll feel that on every single level of every single cell of your non-human human capability. I condense you to a point of nothingness, lost in all time. Using at my free will with this agency of Concordia Consularis, the spiritual business agency of peace, with all beings of peace, across all sectors, vectors, spaces, internal, external, in between, and the divine force of my free will to eliminate you from my reality and for all those that use their free will to choose that. My voice might not be loud and booming, but the frequency of my voice is touching and disturbing for those that have negative agendas for me, you, and anyone else that lives the dream of liberation and peace. Bless Almighty, you pen on the table. Harrison, could you describe in your eloquent voice what you're observing?
Um, I, I'm gonna use a story, and everybody knows the story of where the empire has no clothes. And there's a situation, or there's a moment we are being shown here where the people who thought they were powerful or they are the controllers, they have found themselves naked to the truthfulness of the reality that's happening, and people have awakened and are still becoming aware of what's happening. And the more they try to suppress it, the more it's rising stronger and firmer and more powerful. And the spirit of the human is much stronger, and it can be crushed as they think.
what do you observe with these councils, Harrison?
Well, what I'm being told is that from their perspective, they still believe they're in control, but in reality, it's like you have a farm and you believe you have the control of the farm because you're inside the house. But once you go outside, you find none of the animals is in the shed. Everything is running wild in the somebody has joined me in.
She's in
So
preparation.
yeah. All I'm trying to say is that they no longer have the power as they believe they do. They might manipulate one or two or three things there, but the results they expected to have they don't get that result. It becomes worse and worse than what they anticipate. It's like when you try to seal one hole and the next thing you have 10 holes busting up. You seal those 10 holes, you get 20. That's the kind of situation I'm seeing.
So the ship is sinking.
Yeah.
And what do you make out of these little councils, these little decision-making processes? Oh, and the light corrupters.
What I'm getting is that people are becoming aware of these people. They know the shades or the clothes they are wearing. They know the deceptions that they are using. And what's happened from the soul perspective, it has been won, but in the reality, what we are gonna see, it's something totally different, unique, organic, and something they think they have predicted, but they haven't.
And they don't have the spiritual solution.
Yeah.
So, what percentage of this spiritual court of equity is complete for this day?
I'm being told we have achieved what we can at the moment. Things are still gonna happen in the background where the awareness will be held for the people and it will be or what is the correct word? There's the correct word I'm trying to find. It will be decimated, or sorry, not decimated, it will be dropped in ways that people will be able to understand, accept, and implement in their own ways and lives, so that in our perspective or in the reality that we have, whatever is happening doesn't happen or doesn't continue to happen. But it will take courage, it will take strength, it will take braveness. And I know there are super brave souls out there. So don't act like the people who they know everything that's happening, but they choose to step aside and let and do nothing. You gotta be involved in the fight.
Okay, so super powerful souls, conscious that do nothing. I invite you forward in this moment. An opportunity is given to increase the forces of peace for every single living being on earth. From a place of unconditional source that knows no boundaries. What you do in this moment shapes the collective reality, your personal reality, and how you move forward on your infinite journey. And what are your observations, Harrison?
Yeah, what I'm getting from the quote, things are very cool. It's like there's this tremendous peace um going across. Each and every single soul has this opportunity that has been offered. It's like during the time of Star Wars when they were going to fight the Emperor or the Empire, there were those people who knew they had the capability to fight the Empire, but some of them chose to stay out, but those people who never gave up and they fought, they brought freedom to the rest of the people and the downfall of the empire, despite the magnitude, the technologies that it had and its power. And this is what has been presented to the people. Um, don't sit down. Don't just go along just because your government told you there's a war happening, you need to join the war, and you don't believe in that. Don't just line up and go and fight in a war where two people are just beating their chest and they can't sit down and have a cup of tea and talk things over. They're too proud for that. You know, learn to use the word no. It's a very powerful word. What are they gonna do if you say no?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Not much.
yeah, not much.
Right, I can feel that increasing from the inside of Earth and out. As above, so below.
Yeah.
And it's just going to keep expanding and expanding. And growing like seeds. And the human side of this is knowing your worth, knowing your spiritual worth in light. I'm just sending them the bill, by the way. And there are opportunities being presented. May they be shared with every single soul on earth today. So all come into alignment.
Yeah.
And that does feel peaceful, but to say that leave no stone unturned. How does that feel to you, Hudson?
I'm feeling nice. I'm feeling it's wonderful. And happy to be part of this code, achieving these great things for humanity.
Yeah, right. And we're using our free will, our time, to bring that to you for everybody who might see this, who might not see it. I pray you feel it in the ethers. The joy that is yours. So I will be checking in on this particular theme and taking the appropriate course of action where required. So I would like to thank everyone for joining us this day on this other voyage into with a radically different perspective of how we can resolve all issues that affect and stop the evolution of other souls on earth, stop our own personal evolution. If you would like a session, please do get into contact. If you would like a healing retreat, please do the same. And if you would like a solution going forward for what you came here to do, please get in contact also. All of which enhance your existence at the central most part of your light inside your beings, which is here for a specified amount of time. Do get in contact, subscribe, like, do all that kind of stuff. So, lovely people, thank you for joining us. Any final words, Harrison?
Have love in yourself and have a lovely weekend, days to come.
Oh, frightening then. What day is it? Yeah, and go into yourself, find that peace, connect to all sources of your peace. They're yours.
Yeah.
So see you next time. Not certain exactly when,